It has been a difficult season, and we are just over halfway through. Much is happening. We're working on larger projects than we've ever taken on, and we're undoubtedly busier than we've ever been. A lot of people are obsessed with finding gold. However, what Parker Schnabel just accomplished is very different. He found more than a croissant or a nugget. He tapped into an almost unfathomably rich reservoir. His group discovered a gold vein that resembles a river rather than a deposit deep in an obscure area of Alaska. Here's the worst part, though. The gold itself isn't the true tale. It's the nearly rash scheme Parker came up with to locate it. A clandestine operation with coded maps and a carefully chosen squad under oath. What they had to give up to get there is what no one tells you. Parker Schnabel, a native of Alaska, brought just $140,000 to the Yukon 8 years ago. He has now extracted gold, valued at around $60 million. However, he is running out of space. The wager from Alaska. Parker Schnabel, whose name reverberates with the weight of gold today, did not find his fortune by accident. He designed it with great care. His aim was the Klondike, an area famous for the gold rush of the 19th century, where people gained and lost fortunes in an instant. Parker, however, wasn't searching for scraps. He was searching for a reward that would turn the stories told by the old-timers into bedtime tales. You'll succeed because you mine incredibly well. All right, let's get started. Thank you. Well done. In order to take over his grandfather's business, he put $100,000 off his own money into it, a huge amount for a teenager. It was more than just carrying on a family tradition. The goal was to destroy it and establish an empire. His bold, unproven proposal relied on a new approach. Industry veterans were perplexed by his decision to divide his crew. He established 2 separate units with missions that were dangerously dissimilar. First was his long-term investment, the Wolfcut crew. Initially, at least, they had no employment finding gold. Their task was to excavate in unexplored frozen territory. They used extreme energy to defrost the permafrost as they clawed down 30 feet. This was soul-crushing, hard work that didn't pay off right away. They moved tons of frozen earth for weeks, but all they discovered was ice and dirt. Both resources and morale were severely depleted. A gamble that initially appeared to be a huge flop. The Driftcut crew, under the direction of Tyson and his reliable foreman Mitch, had an entirely different goal. Now is the time to find gold. Music. It's critical that we complete this extension as quickly as possible. They were the backbone of the organization, charged with making enough money to keep both teams' fuel tanks full and the lights on. They were under tremendous pressure. They searched their assigned tract, and each day that went by without a find brought the entire operation one step closer to the goal. They kept an eye out for the smallest hint of color, which would indicate pay dirt. Parker was effectively operating 2 mines, one burning money and the other frantically attempting to print it. Many failed to see that this approach multiplied the risk and taxed his resources. The season would be doomed if either front failed. The enormity of the Alaskan gold mining industry is something that no one discusses. The Earth mountains are being moved by devices the size of houses. Hundreds of gallons of diesel can be consumed daily by a single dozer, which might cost an operation weeks. Parker was spending money at an alarming rate. He needed a victory, and quickly. Then it took place. The Wolfcut crew finally made their breakthrough after weeks of unrelenting digging. Suddenly, their SLLE box, a device that separates heavier gold from lighter pebbles, came to life. There were more than a few flakes. It was pure Klondike gold flowing thick and steady. Their unappreciated labor had finally paid off, showing a substantial deposit that would ensure the operation's survival for many years to come. In an almost amazing turn of events, the Driftcut crew also struck gold at almost the same time, a pocket of wealth big enough to finance the entire project and more. They had discovered their own honey hole. In the most dramatic way possible, Parker's wild gamble had paid off. While one crew had unlocked the future, the other had protected the present, but it would need even more audacity to safeguard this newfound wealth. Locking the Klondike down. As gold began to flow in from 2 different places, Parker was confronted with a new issue that every miner hopes to encounter. There was too much gold for him to handle. His old equipment was being overwhelmed by the amount of pay dirt. His antiquated wash facility, a holdover from a different period, was unable to keep up. He was wasting valuable time as a result of its continuous breakdown, but more significantly, He was losing valuable gold. The enormous amount of tonnage he was suddenly uncovering required a monster, a new piece of equipment. Mighty Big Red was what he needed. This was not merely an improvement. The state-of-the-art wash plant, which could process hundreds of cubic yards of soil every hour, was an investment worth millions of dollars. It was a huge undertaking to set up, and his crew had to labor non-stop. Every minute that was not spent sleeving gold was spent on construction. You see, there was an unintended consequence to the discovery of such a rich vein. Pay attention. In the close-knit Klondike mining community, word gets around quickly. Parker was aware that his popularity would draw thieves, claim jumpers, and competitors. He needed to keep his discoveries safe. In a decisive and controversial step, he ordered the closure of all access to his mine. He essentially built a fortress around his operation by blocking off the roads. This fed the rumor mill, but also freed his staff from distraction and the fear of sabotage. What did Parker conceal? Had he really discovered one of his career's highest pay streaks? The mystique around his discovery was, to put it mildly, enhanced by the secrecy. The fact that actual gold is extremely thick is something that no one tells you. It would be extremely difficult to steal in significant amounts without being detected, because a 5-gallon bucket full with gold dust and nuggets would weigh more than 200 pounds. However, Parker's troubles did not end in his golden fortress. The mistress of technology can be cruel. The crew encountered perplexing problem during one of their first significant cleanups with Mighty Big Red. They weren't getting the correct readings from the conventional industrial scale they were using. Regular ounces are not used to weigh gold. Troy ounces, a unit of measurement that originated in the Middle Ages, are used to measure it. Particularly when you're weighing thousands of dollars worth of gold, the difference is slight but noteworthy. The machines themselves started to rebel even after the scale problem was resolved, revealing that their initial weigh-in was more over $23,000. Rocks were choking Mighty Big Red, the operation's savior. Oversized materials were clogging the works, since a screen within the enormous facility had ripped. The whole activity came to a complete stop. In order to solder the screen back together, Mitch, his dependable mechanic, had to scale the beast's belly. This was a risky and time-consuming procedure. The collapse served as a sobering reminder of just how flimsy their success was. The floodgates opened after Mitch bandaged Big Red. The initial cleanup of the restored wash facility produced an astounding 51.6 ounces of gold, valued at an impressive $90,000. Although that was an excellent outcome, it was only the beginning. Meanwhile, Parker's other wash plant, known as Sluifer, produced a cleanup that would go down in history. When the last concentration was panned out and a stunning amount of gold was revealed, the crew assembled. A nearly incredible 360.50 was the final total. That's about $600,000 worth of pure gold, more than 22 pounds from a single cleanup. Team, seasoned guys who had dedicated their life to pursuing this dream, were rendered incomprehensible. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. The gold's weight alone demonstrated how wealthy the ground they had discovered was. However, the apex was still to come. Now, the operation was a well-tuned machine that was operating at full capacity. The workers processed enough material to produce 253.80 of gold in one remarkable day. Since the pay dirt was so rich, that's more than $820,000 in a single day in the current market. The prospect of winning a large sum of money in the lottery excites many people, but this was unique. Through perseverance, sweat, and tenacity, this wealth was ripped straight from the ground. Parker went above and beyond to commemorate the historic achievement and honor his team's devotion and diligence. He assembled his workers and gave them each a bonus of $12,000 in unpolished, raw gold instead of cash. It served as a potent symbol, a clear link between their hard work and the money they had made. Many people failed to consider the science underlying such a discovery. Parker hadn't discovered a gold mine at random. He had discovered a pay streak, an old underground riverbed where gold had settled over millions of years because it is 19 times heavier than water. In essence, he was mining a prehistoric stream's bottom. The amazing thing is that glacial meltwater near the end of the last ice age condensed gold flakes and nuggets into extraordinarily rich streaks, similar to the one Parker discovered, creating some of the world's greatest placer gold deposits. He wasn't simply fortunate. He had found the ideal location by combining his geological sense with contemporary exploring methods. The magnitude of the discovery was now indisputable. Parker was also aware that he needed to safeguard what might be a multi-million-dollar pay streak that would define his career. However, the questions from the outside world increased in number, along with the gold. The silt contains secrets. The world started to wonder what was actually happening at Parker Schnabel's isolated Alaskan claim as the mine was placed under lockdown, and there were reports of a fabled gold find circulating. The drama was shown in the television series Gold Rush, but both viewers and critics began to wonder, is it all real? At this point, the narrative shifts, delving into the dark realm of fan theories and reality TV. The idea of producer's gold, which holds that the show's creators place gold to make the action more dramatic for the cameras, is one of the most persistent theories. However, this is extremely unlikely given the magnitude of Parker's cleanups. Falsifying multi-ounce weigh-ins would be extremely expensive. Furthermore, it would be practically hard to prepare that much gold without the crew knowing. The fact that mining operations are subject to stringent rules and inspections makes such a lie extremely risky, but no one tells you that. Then there are the rumors about crew members who are hidden and missing gold. There are times of failure and success that spectators never witness, and fans have conjectured that not all cleanups are captured on camera. Unseen crew personnel that perform a large portion of the work behind the scenes are also the subject of hypotheses. The core of the operation, the back-breaking effort, the mechanical failures, and the excitement of the find are all very real, even though a reality show is an edited version of events. The gold itself is authentic, but the storyline is geared toward television. Parker's intricate land transactions, especially with his opponent and landlord Tony Beets, provide another level of intrigue. High-stakes drama is added to the proceedings by the ongoing negotiations and tensions over land access and royalties. But the question of whether this is all an overnight success story is arguably the most intriguing one to think about. Many viewers at home believe Parker simply came up and won the lottery after seeing the enormous gold weigh-ins. Many people forgot the years of education, the setbacks, the crippling debt, and the tremendous pressure that preceded this huge victory. His grandfather's brilliance wasn't all he inherited. He inherited an unwavering work ethic and generations of wisdom. Are we overlooking something important? The problem is that although the show emphasizes the eureka moments, it is unable to depict the thousands of hours of tedious, exasperating labor that precede them. It is literally necessary to transport tons of useless rock and dirt for every ounce of gold. The goal isn't the only part of the true story. Things is about the iron will needed to see things through, and the startling ratio of effort to reward. Parker Schnabel demonstrated that good fortune can still be found beneath the ice. Was his renowned discovery, however, a once-in-a-lifetime chance or a repeatable tactic? Share your thoughts with us. Please like and subscribe to